Hi, I'm Mike Boland, and welcome to We're Not Stumped. It's always great to have you here. Today I want to talk to you about two different but very real experiences, being born with a limb difference and losing a limb later in life. You might be living in one of those stories yourself, or maybe you're supporting someone who is. Either way, let's explore how these journeys are different and how they often overlap in many ways you may not expect. Let's get right to it. If you were born without a limb like I was, if you're on YouTube, you can see I was born without a right hand. You never experienced life with it. There was no adjustment, no loss to grieve. You just figured things out from the start, your way. Now, there are challenges that I will talk about a little later. But if you lost a limb as an adult, that's a life-altering moment. You had a before, and now you're living the after. And that comes with grief, frustration, and often the need to rebuild both the body and your identity. Different starting points, same need to adapt, persevere, and find your new normal. Growing up without my right hand, I never saw myself as disabled. I was just me. I learned to tie my shoes differently. I bowled with one hand. I went on the Pro Bowlers Tour. I answered a lot of the questions, some curious, some a little awkward, but this was my normal. And I know many others within the congenital limb difference community feel the same way. Like Angie Sandow, she was born without her right hand too, and she's been on this podcast. Now, she's a biker, she's a rock musician, and she's a cancer survivor. And she just figured it out early, just like I did, but not without challenges. The first day of school, being a 5-year-old, facing the same questions from adults, they get asked the same questions as a kid. We had to navigate this every day of our lives. And then add to that how hard it is to find employment as a person with limb loss. And again, you know that this is a lifelong challenge. Now, if you lost a limb as an adult, your story feels very different. I just interviewed Stevia Walker. She lost her right hand in 2023. She shared what it was like to wake up one day and have everything change. Not just physically, but emotionally, socially, mentally. She talked about rebuilding her confidence one day at a time. And maybe that's where you're at right now too. You're relearning how to move, how to interact with the world, and how to see yourself in a whole new light. That takes real strength. Despite how different the origins may be, there's a lot of common ground between congenital and acquired limb loss and limb difference. We all had to adapt. We all had people stare at us and ask, how do you do that? And we've all found ways to thrive, and sometimes despite and sometimes because of our limb difference. That's the power of the community. You may not share the same beginning that I have, but you do share the resilience it takes to keep going. And I have a story that I call The Tale of Two Lives. My personal journey, I had great family and great leadership through my mom and dad to help me navigate all the things that I had to navigate as a person with limb loss every day of their lives. But I met somebody just like me, missing a right hand, that I've asked to be on the podcast, and she respectfully declined. But her story is completely different. It is the tale of two lives. Her parents took it personal that she was born without a right hand. They thought it was something that they caused. And because of that, at all family affairs and all family functions as a child, when she was in her stroller, they covered her up. Not her hand. They covered her up. They were ashamed. And it made it very difficult for her life, every day of her life. Something she still struggles with now. She had trouble navigating the first day of kindergarten. She was different than everyone, and she didn't have the confidence that my parents instilled in me on how to navigate that. She also had trouble finding jobs, and she went through years of depression because of how she was treated as a young person. I'm very happy to say that she took control of her life. She's gone through counseling, and she's doing great now. But it's still something she struggles with. And again, it's the tale of two lives. Me as someone who was given the tools that I continue to use to navigate the challenges that we all face in the limb loss community, and her not given those tools early. Despite how you get to where you're at in the limb loss community, I hope you can get to a place where you have the confidence to navigate it, just like she does now. So whether you've lived with limb difference your whole life or it's something new that you're navigating, your story matters. There's no better. There's no worse path, just your own journey. And you're not alone. If today's episode gave you something to think about, maybe some comfort, maybe some clarity, I hope you'll share it with someone who needs it. Thanks again for being here, and as always, we're not stumped.